The advantage of giving you the values without worrying about the colors, right? So it put the emphasis on the three-dimensionality of the form. So when we do this, guy, when you start blocking in the black in here, you don't have to go all the way to the margin, right? You just need to go just around here, just around the figure. And we start thinking now to try to be a little bit more precise in this profiling here. Try blocking in all this little detail that we see here, right? Drawing in this case in negative so that we define this outline here by blocking in the dark background, right?
Roberto, with the example you showed from your book with the Conte, is that more difficult to lift?
A little bit more difficult. So, which, I mean, it sticks more to the paper, the content sticks more to the paper, but it might not be a bad thing in the sense that it's more, as you've seen with the charcoal, you might lift it too much, right? Because it doesn't stick very well. The content sticks to the paper a little bit more. So having, as I was saying before, having to fight a little bit to achieve the value is not a bad thing. Also because it's easier to achieve a smaller and smaller tonal scale the values than if you had a pigment that as soon as you touch it comes off even too much, right? So it's actually very good for practicing with the Conti. You can use Conti, or actually I was using Cretacolor pigment, but you can make your own pigment by with piece of sandpaper and simply rubbing the stick on sandpaper, collect the dust, and then put it on your paper. You can also do it with color pencil. Same thing. Take a color pencil, maybe shave off a lot of the wood casing around. Now you have a long piece of colored pencil lead, and then sandpaper. You create some dust, and then you use that. But the colored pencil is even harder to lift because it is it has a wax medium that keeps it there, right? All right, so darker, and then we can also make it dark. When we need to get this dark, right, we can go back in here with a compressed charcoal. The compressed charcoal will really, it's really dark. It releases a lot of pigment, and you can achieve a very, very deep black, right? So now we keep finding value. I would focus on the head here a little bit. So here, right, I see that this area here is slightly darker, see that, and this area here gets lighter and lighter, and the peak of the highlight is here and here, right? When we do this kind of work in studio or here like this, we want to identify, when we try to establish a tonal scale, we want to identify where is the highlight, the highest highlight, and where is the darkest value. That way we create some sort of parameter, right, in a kind of range, right? And if I have, for example, I squint, right? I squint and I see, okay, you know what? The highest highlight is probably here in the face, right here. That's the higher highlight because it's pure white. Or here, the upper lip, right? When I, so once I know that is the white of the paper, I want to see where else I have the white of the paper, like that. And as I lift, I find myself here, right? I find myself here, and I'm thinking, okay, is that white, pure white of the paper? And I compare with that, and then I see that this is lighter. So even if it's minimally, if I have a comparison, I see that if I can compare these two values, it's easier to see that this is lighter and that is a little bit darker. So I will leave this a little bit darker than that. So using the highest highlight and the darkest value as your parameters help you to create a tonal coherence between the various parts. I guess I have charcoal all over the place, right? The various tonal parts of the drawing, right? Same thing for the darkest value. So now here is the nose. I need to lift this as much as I can because we established that is the brightest highlight. I don't really need to get that white, the pure white right away. I can wait a little bit. Oh, one thing. If you want to limit the mess in your hand and in your clothes, you could also put the piece of paper over your drawing like this, and that way you will not be smearing this, because if you work a little with your hand over it, you might be smearing it. If you were standing up, that's not the big deal. It's not going to happen. But if you are like I'm working, you know, with a drawing on a piece of on a flat plane, you most likely will rub your hand over it, and then that can create a messy situation. So a piece of paper here, you're going to move your hand on the paper, the drawing will not be affected, right? So I'm looking now at the nose of my drawing, and I see that this angle here, it's a little bit too pronounced. See that? My angle here. So I'm going to go back in here and then straighten it up like this. Right? Okay. But you see how soft the texture of the charcoal is. Charcoal is just so beautiful that it gives you this soft texture, and it kind of it replicate very well light effects. Tracy, how is your charcoal now? Is it behaving or is it still unruly?
It's better.
Okay, good.
It's not unruly.
You have enough on unruly, right? During the day.
Yeah, I've had enough of I've got some unruly dogs right here. I watched them while I was drawing. Get into the recyclables, and now I have a lot of paper everywhere on the floor. But
so you're saying you're recycling dogs?
I feel like I should recycle the dogs.
That's nice. I mean, you know.
I went out and got myself a puppy.
Oh, okay.
Because my dog was bored.
Okay. You should contact Diana. She's also has puppies now, and
yeah. I only have one. Thank
you only
God.
have one. Okay, no. She used
But
to raise a lot.
Three dogs. Huh?
She used to raise a lot of dogs, and
Oh.
there's so much shelter, and but one got what is the name of that illness? The very contagious illness that puppies have, and it can be fatal.
Parvovirus?
It's an intestinal disease. What is it called?
Parvovirus, probably.
Probably, yeah.
I have a friend who used to call his cat and talk to the cat on the answering machine. Yeah. So it wouldn't be lonely. Yeah. And he would say, I know you jumped on that counter. I can hear you jumping on that kitchen counter. But now you can do the phone and have a webcam. So you can actually see